Hey everybody, how's it going? Today is March 6th of 2019. In this video, I'm going to talk about the deaths of 3 celebrities, all of which fell on the date March 4th. If you're new to my channel, I talk about numerology with a special focus on the language of Gematria, which is the practice of coding numbers into words. The base 4 ciphers are what you see when you first come to gematrinator.com. We start with the alphabetic order, where each letter is numbered 1 through 26 relative to its position in the alphabet. We also have the reduction method, which uses the rules of numerology to reduce each double-digit number to a single digit. This is also called Pythagorean or Agrippin gematria. Both ciphers can then be reversed so that Z is 1 and A is 26. These are complementary ciphers called reverse ordinal and reverse full reduction. We're also going to touch on Jewish, aka Latin gematria, which is the cipher seen on the right side of your screen, structured more closely to Hebrew gematria, Greek isopsephy. This cipher produces much larger numbers, and we'll be taking a look at that method as well, as it's definitely the most relevant outside of what we call the base 4 in gematria. So we got 3 deaths that we're going to talk about, the first of which is WWE legend King Kong Bundy. We're going to talk about how his death is related to WrestleMania 2, which was undoubtedly King Kong Bundy's biggest match. He headlined WrestleMania against Hulk Hogan in that event. We're also going to look at the death of actor Luke Perry, star of Beverly Hills 90210, and more currently the show Riverdale. And then finally, we'll look at the death of prodigy singer Keith Flint. And if any one of these deaths is fake, this would be my pick. You know, we don't know for sure whether or not these people are dying, whether or not they're getting murdered. If they are, they're definitely being done by the numbers, and we'll discuss this as it goes. So first of all, when you write out the date March 4th, the date on which these celebrities died, notice how it sums to 131. This is the same as Chris Pally's, which is the real-life name of King Kong Bundy, 131. Also on this date, Luke Perry passed away, and Luke Perry's name equals 131. Now, every year, in the month or two leading up to WrestleMania, we always see the deaths of, multiple wrestlers usually, and here we have one in King Kong Bundy. So what's interesting about him dying on the date March 4th, written 3/4, is that this date falls exactly 34 days before the next WrestleMania. This year's WrestleMania will take place at MetLife Stadium. MetLife equals 34. But as highlighted in the beginning of this video, the word murder sums to 34 in reduction. Of course, this being the date March 4th. Also interesting is that 34 days on a calendar converts to 4 weeks and 6 days. So you often see this number, people dying 34 days before or after their birthday. The word sacrifice equals 46. And the date on which King Kong Bundy died had 46 numerology, 3 plus 4 plus 20 plus 19. The word wrestling also 46 in reduction. So as I mentioned, Bundy's biggest match was at WrestleMania 2. And here he's seen on the poster headlining WrestleMania 2 in a steel cage match against Hulk Hogan. What's interesting about WrestleMania 2 is that it was the only one to ever take place on a weekday. Notice how WrestleMania 2 was on Monday, April 7th, 1986. Well, this stands out. April 7th. That's the date of this year's WrestleMania. WrestleMania 35 being held on April 7th in the state of New Jersey. And this is worth pointing out because King Kong Bundy was born in Atlantic City, New Jersey, also where he passed away in Glassboro. I'm noticing now that they changed his birth date, so this will be interesting. When I originally did the decode, he had died at the age of 61. Now they're saying he's 63 years old, and then he was born in 55. Pretty interesting. I guess we'll see how that affects the numerology later on. But regardless of that, these 2 WrestleManias, April 7th, 86, WrestleMania 2, and April 7th, 2019, WrestleMania 35, are exactly 33 years apart. And this is a number we always see surrounding death of celebrities. Notice how 33 has this Jewish gematria of 895. That's the age at which Jesus was crucified on the cross in the New Testament. The phrase ritual human sacrifice also has this value of 895. And call this a coincidence if you want, but I do find it interesting that his real name, Chris Pallies, equals 395. 3, pretty close to the number 8. But what really stands out is the name King Kong. Think about the movie King Kong. This was first released in 1933. This year's WrestleMania, 33 years to the day after the one that this guy main evented. King Kong was released on March 2nd, 1933. That's where it made its debut in New York. If you measure from 3/2/1933 to the date on which we got the news that King Kong Bundy died, look how many days it was. 31415. These are the first 5 digits of pi. Pi begins with 3.1415. And the date on which this movie was released, 3/2/33, isn't it interesting that circle equals 32? And then circles equals 33. This was the New York release date, which sums to 33. In Jewish gematria, pi equals 69, which matches the reverse gematria of Bundy. Also in satanic gematria, King Kong Bundy equals 609. 69 is also a number that's associated with eclipses. The word eclipse equals 69. In eclipse, the intersection of the two largest circles in the sky, circles equals 69 as well. This word circle has Jewish gematria of 120, just like the word eclipse in reverse. And King Kong Bundy died 120 days before the next eclipse. And when I talk about eclipses, I almost always talk about total solar eclipses. These are very rare. There's only about 7 per decade on average. So if we measure to the next total eclipse, you get that 120. If you measure to the most recent eclipse, we find it was a span of 197 days after. King Kong Bundy equals 197 in reverse. Once again, the eclipse code never fails. Also, measuring to this guy's death, if we include the end date, we get 1 year and 28 weeks. And look at his full name, Christopher Allen Pallies equals 128 in reverse reduction, one of our base ciphers. Also, King Kong equals 128 in reverse ordinal. The number 28, seen here in the gematria of kill. What's also interesting is the 17. The date on which he died had tiny numerology of 17, 3 plus 4 plus 1 plus 9. And if you measure from the date that he headlined WrestleMania 2 to the date of his death, it was exactly 1,717 weeks. Notice how the word kill equals 64 in reverse. King Kong Bundy equals 64. His birth date, 11/7. Now they're saying it was 55. This was the 311th day on the calendar. This is the 64th prime number. And then the date on which news broke of his death, that was the 64th day of the year. And then as far as kill summing to 44 and 59, look at the name Chris Pallies. 59 reduction, and then in reverse it sums to 193, which is the 44th prime number. Oh, there's so much to cover here, guys. I don't want to drag this on too long. However, a couple more things I want to look at in regards to the number 53 and 35. So think about how we just had Super Bowl 53. The inverse of 53 is 35. Next month, there will be WrestleMania 35. The word wrestling sums to 53. Wrestling's biggest superstar, Hulk Hogan from the 80s, he was born in the year 53. And then we got news of Bundy's death on the 5th of March, or 5/3. His full name, Christopher Allen Pallies, equals 241, which is the 53rd prime number. In reverse, look at how his name equals 353, like 35 and 53. Also, 53 itself is a prime number, the 16th, and his full name equals 106. A couple other things worth pointing out. King Kong Bundy equals 154 in ordinal and 62 in reverse. Ritual sacrifice equals 154. The word sacrifice itself equaling 62. So check out the link underneath the video if you want to look at more of this. Again, they're saying he's dead at 63 now, not 61. I'm not really sure what this changes. It is pretty interesting. I will note this, that he died at exactly 3,304 weeks old. And here I'm talking about how his death was related to the next solar eclipse. Solar eclipse equals 433, the inverse of 334. So this is an even, more logical date. He's also got the 73 birth numerology to go with how his name matches sacrifice. So on that same date, we got news of the death of Luke Perry. And what we just talked about in the death of King Kong Bundy, it's important to understand that Bundy's death, although it occurred on March 4th, we got the news on March 5th. So you actually saw how both of those dates were significant. The next two celebrities we're going to talk about, Luke Perry and Keith Flint, both of these men are said to have died on March 4th, the same date on which we got the news. In fact, we got news very, very early in the day. So we're only going to look at the 4th with these guys. So we're talking about total solar eclipses and how it seems to never fail that the deaths of these celebrities are aligned with them. So let's talk about the show Beverly Hills 90210. This is the show that Luke Perry is known for. Using the reverse alphabetic order, Beverly Hills 90210, this equation adds the digits 9 plus 2 plus 1. Notice how it sums to 187. Some of you may recognize this as the homicide code, taken from the California Penal Code, made popular in the 90s by some of the rap artists. 187 is the gematria of total eclipse in reverse. And look at how this lines up. If you measure to the most recent total solar eclipse, which was still the last American eclipse in August of 2017, it was 1 year, 6 months, and 1 week exactly after that eclipse. Well, not exactly, but it's close. Beverly Hills 90210 equals 161. Now, if you were to use the S exception, Beverly Hills 90210 sums to 80. This is also exactly 80 weeks after that same eclipse. .161 stands out for another reason. The number 1.618 is known as the golden ratio. Golden ratio sums to 120, and this death fell 120 days before the next eclipse. Notice how eclipse has gematria of 314 and 222. Luke Perry died 31 weeks, 4 days, or a span of 222 days before his birthday. The number 314, familiar from Pi. We talked about this number in the death of King Kong Bundy and the release of the movie. 3.14, the first three digits of pi, which is used to resolve the mathematics of the circle. In the reverse alphabetic order, both Luke Perry and circle equal 112. Circle also sums to 32. The date he died was the date that leaves 302 days in the year. And then the 32nd prime number is 131. And Luke Perry died on March 4th, which both sum to 131. So we mentioned the golden ratio and how this shows up in the measurement from the last eclipse and Beverly Hills 90210. Well, this ratio is also known as phi, which has gematria of 33, a lot like the word eclipse, 33. In Jewish gematria, phi equals 77. Perry died 7 months, 7 days before his 53rd birthday. The name Perry equals 53. As far as him dying at the age of 52, I found it interesting because Beverly Hills 90210, if you actually run the dates on which it aired, October 4th, 1990 to May 17th, 2000, you get exactly a span of 502 weeks. And then to top it off, Perry died 20 weeks and 5 days after his 52nd birthday. So a little 52, 55, or 25. Death has gematria of both those numbers. I didn't mention this in the last one, but March 4th this year had 46 and 19 numerology. In Hebrew, the word kill equals 46 and 19. This makes the whole thing with King Kong Bundy even more interesting. CNN, of course, they gave us a little gematria in the headline. This headline sums to 229 in reduction, which is the 50th prime number, and it's being said that Luke Perry died of a massive stroke. Both of those sum to 50 in that same cipher. So this is going to take us into the death of prodigy singer Keith Flint. And here's what sticks out about these two deaths that were announced on the same day. So check this out. 90210 equals 180 and 81 in reduction. Prodigy singer Keith Charles Flint equals 180 and 81. And what's so significant about this is that if you measure to the eclipse, you get exactly 80 weeks in 1 day with the end date included, like the number 81. And if you measure to the next eclipse, you get 17 weeks in 1 day. 171 is the 18th triangular number. And 90210, Keith Charles Flint, both summing to 180. Flint was the lead singer of Prodigy. Prodigy equals 49. This is the age at which the singer of Prodigy is said to have died. Again, the numerology of the date, 46 and 19, like kill in Hebrew. This headline up here, notice how they put something in quotes. It says, true pioneer, innovator, and legend. And look at this. It sums to 340 using the alphabetic order. He died on March 4th, written 3-4, murder 34. They said this man died of suicide. Suicide also equals 34. Internationally, the date is written 4/3. Suicide also equals 43 with the S exception. This headline had more sacrifice gematria. Perhaps that's because you may recall 2 years ago there was a rapper named Prodigy who also died. Their deaths were separated by 622 days, and the word sacrifice equals 226. So the name Flint sums to 61 and 74. And when we talk about the eclipse crucifixion code, We're talking about the New Testament and the Gospels, where Jesus was crucified under an event perceived to be a solar eclipse. And it's no doubt in my mind that this is why all of these celebrity deaths happen in relation to solar eclipses. So earlier we looked at the death of King Kong Bundy, whose real last name was Pallies. See how Pallies sums to 74? The name Flint also equals 74, as well as 61. These are the same numbers found in Jesus, 74 and 61. In Hebrew, the word eclipse equals 156 and 57. 156 is significant because eclipses always and only occur 1, 5, or 6 lunar phases apart from one another. The name Keith Flint in reverse equals 156 and 57. His birth date of September 17th is the 260th day of the year. In Greek isopsephy, using the ordinal method, total solar eclipse equals 260. And I always knew this number was super significant with eclipses, guys, but I never thought to actually check the real gematria of total solar eclipse, and once I figured it out, it really lit a light bulb. As we mentioned, his name equals 81, dying 80 weeks in a day after the last total solar eclipse. This measurement provides one more really interesting number, 561 days. The number 561 is a triangular number. Actually, let me use my number properties page here. Sorry, this thing is, when I let more than one person use this page, for some reason it causes my website to have issues, so I apologize for that. 561 is a triangular number. Look at this. It's the 33rd triangular number. Remember, 33, the number associated with eclipse. Jesus was crucified at the age of 33. Notice how in Gematria, 33 equals 515 in prime numbers. Also 1,515. And in this extended method, the name Jesus equals 515. So not only did Keith Flint die 5 months and 15 days after his birthday, but it was also 5 years, 1 month, and 5 days before the next Great American Total Solar Eclipse. Another thing that stands out about this guy's name, and like I said, if I were to guess, I would guess that this guy is not really dead. We see musicians die young very frequently, and we know that this boosts record sales, and it kind of gives these guys a little retirement income, so to speak. So check out the name Keith Charles Flint, which sums to 180. You also get a 99 in reverse reduction. When you flip this number upside down, you get 66. And look how old he was when he died. 18,066 days old. But another reason 1866 is interesting is because ancient accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry equals 1866. And it's no secret that it's Freemasonry running the record industry, sacrificing and or faking their celebrity deaths by the numbers. So how appropriate, especially considering that in this same Jewish cipher, the name Keith Flint equals 307. Freemason equals 307. Is it possible this guy was just a Freemason who's participating in a numeric hoax? We talked a little bit about pi earlier with King Kong Bundy. Well, again, pi equals 69. That's the year in which Keith Flint was born. He had birth numerology of 114 and 51. That matches his name, Keith Flint, 114 and 51. The prodigy sums to 143 and 44, which is the same as circle in Hebrew. Here we see pi using the alphabetic order, 16 plus 9. He died 169 days after his birthday. And he was 49 years old. Why does that stand out? Well, the 49th prime is 227, and this is our number that's very closely associated with the circle. There's 360 degrees in a circle, which equals 227. If you divide 22 by 7, you get 3.14. Alt 227 gives you the pi symbol. So all three of these deaths, it's pretty suspicious. If I had to guess, King Kong Bundy's probably dead. Luke Perry, no idea. But, it's likely he could be dead too, I guess. Keith Flint, that one I don't really believe. So, just my opinions, just speaking off of experience from decoding all of these deaths. And some of these deaths have a significant amount more of Masonic numbers in them. So what I'd revealed to you about Keith Flint dying at 18,066 days old, I mean, what are the odds of that? Right? Ancient accepted Scottish rite of Freemasonry, 1866. We know how Freemasonry loves Gematria, 180 and an upside down 66 in this guy's name. And this would not be new. Putting the numbers of someone's Gematria in their age. Recently I was talking about the Wizard of Oz and how it was related to the Jim Boeheim incident and Zion Williamson. Well, look at not Dorothy Gale, but the actress who played her, Judy Garland. So she ended up changing her name to Judy Garland. This was her film name. So she was born on June 10th, 1922, and died on June 22nd of 1969. And check out how old she was, 17,180 days old. And look at Judy Garland in Gematria, 117 and then 180 reverse. The numbers found in the age of her death. Pretty interesting stuff. So, sorry I didn't really keep up with the chat. I am going to do one more stream tonight. I'm going to talk about these two news by the numbers stories. We'll talk about the first ever all-female spacewalk, which was scheduled to take place at the end of March. And I'll also talk about this stupid news story with Kylie Jenner and why we're being told that she became a billionaire on this date. All right, everybody, stay tuned. We'll talk to you in a little bit. See ya.